Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Pan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. A blockbuster Friday rally on Dalal Street. The Sensex up 1,300 points. Nifty gains nearly 400, wiping out all the losses this week. Despite the rally, nearly 50% of the Nifty stocks end the week in the red. Election Commission announces dates for assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana. The voting will take place for 90 seats in J&K across 3 phases, with the first phase on the 18th of September, all 90 seats in Haryana to vote in a single phase on the 1st of October, results to be announced on the 4th of October. Shares of newly listed Ola Electric hit the upper circuit again. The launch of a new electric motorcycle and a 32% growth in the first quarter revenue lifts sentiment. The US government cuts prices of 10 patented prescription drugs by the Federal Health Insurance Scheme by up to 79%. The move will impact Indian pharma companies. Complaints over the food served in trains surged 500% in FY24, reveals an RTI data from IRCTC. In the last 3 years, nearly 13,000 people complained about the food, but only 3 contractors were punished. That's a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Doctors across India protest the rape and murder of a 31-year-old trainee doctor at a Kolkata hospital last week. The Calcutta High Court slams the TMC government after vandalism inside the hospital premises on the 9th of the 14th of August. The centre directs heads of government hospitals to file institutional FIRs within 6 hours of any incident of violence. The death toll in Palestine due to Israeli strikes crosses 40,000, according to Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry. Israel issues fresh evacuation orders for parts of Khan Yunis, further squeezing the displaced population. Israeli settlers attack West Bank, killing 1 person and injuring dozens. Ukrainian troops advance inside Russia and claim to be in control of a border town with crucial energy infrastructure. Russia claims NATO and Western countries planned the attack on Kursk region and vow to hit back. Actor Rishabh Shetty wins the National Award for the Best Actor for Kantara. Nithya, Menen and Parekh to share the Best Actress honours for Tiruchitra Balam and Kuch Express, respectively. Malayalam film Atam adjudged Best Feature Film. The winners will be felicitated by President Murmu in October. Well, let's start with the market action. It turned out to be a blockbuster rally on Friday, which wiped out all the weekly losses, helping the Sensex and the Nifty close strongly in the green. The Sensex up more than 1,300 points today, and the Nifty added almost 400, 1.5% higher. Look at the mid-cap index, 1,000 point up on the mid-cap index. The Nifty Bank up by almost 800 points. That's a gain of about 1.5%. So a late surge being seen there and a big rally across the indices for the week. For the week, both the Sensex and the Nifty have ended with gains of 1%. Prashant is standing by now to wrap up the market action for us. A strong close, Prashant.
What a turbulent fortnight we are closing. I mean, the market selling off in a dramatic fashion, actually almost a mini heart attack in the initial part of this month, and then spending the last few sessions in repair, and of course culminating with today's massive move on the upside. The Nifty ending with almost about 400 points gain, taking out some near-term sort of resistance levels like the 20-day moving average. The Nifty Bank, which of course has been the clear laggard, also posting almost about just under a 2% pop today on your screen, both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. Mid-caps and small caps, of course, also raging higher, about 1.75% higher on both these indices. It's just sort of looking much better. I mean, the sentiment here in India had turned overly negative, at least in the very short term. Indicators were pointing to that. And of course, the fact that we came out of the market holiday with good data out of the US, which showed that, the growth scare perhaps was just that, a scare. And equities reacting very favorably to 2.5% overnight. I mean, I think is what was the cocktail which led to the spectacular gains here. Actually, you could look at it as a recovery from the lows or, of course, fresh gains. Now, Nifty and large caps, which did well, a lot of technology, like what we had day before yesterday. Wipro, Tech Mahindra, TCS, top of the list there. But there were also Grasim, Mahindra & Mahindra, Tata Motors, Shriram Finance, which did very well. On the downside, Pharma was a weak point. Divi's, Dr. Reddy's and Sun were the 3 top Nifty losers today. But when I say top, nothing large. I mean, 0.75% to 1.5% cuts. I'll come straight to broader markets and, what did very well. So Ola, 20% once again. 70% on top of the issue price in 5 days flat. That's essentially a huge run that we've seen for this new listing. CDSL did well. Gravita India, there was a new broker initiation. Then you had Birlasoft, Emphasis, Zensar, this mid-cap tech pack, which did quite well. Power names like Power India, Voltamp Transformers, some of these platform companies like PB Fintech, Paytm, there was Zaggle, MapMy India, which participated. Consumer names, Barbecue Nation, Ethos was higher sharply. Financials like Piramal Enterprises, which had sold off sharply, recovered. Nippon India, AB Capital were others, and a bunch of others like Keytex up another 15% after the 20% gain day before. Anantraj was higher, and there was Uflex, which was up quite sharply as well. Pullbacks coming through in Hindustan Zinc, news related, of course. Prudent Financial just pulling back after sharp gains day before. KDDL, Arman Financial, and InSwift were some of the pullbacks that we had. By and large, a very good session, sort of participating fully in what has been a global risk-on rally for the last 24 hours. Back to you.
Well, a strong close to the week for our markets. Prashant, many thanks for joining us. The big national story, the Election Commission has announced dates for assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana. While Jammu and Kashmir will vote across 3 phases, all seats in Haryana will go to the polls in a single phase. Shivani is standing by now with the details. Shivani, take us through the dates.
Well, Shreen, absolutely. The Election Commission has set the stage for assembly elections in both in Haryana as well as J&K. But as we know that this is going to be a historic assembly election for J&K because the state, now Union Territory, is going for an assembly poll mostly almost after 10 years now after the abrogation of Article 370. This will be the first assembly election which will be held in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, let's see the dates. Now, the election in J&K will happen in 3 phases on September 18th, September 25th, and October 1st. Now, the first phase scheduled for September 18th will cover districts of Pulwama, Anantnag, Shopian, Kulgam, Ramban, Kishtwar and Doda, majorly the border areas. The second phase on September 25th will include Ganderbal, Srinagar, Badgam, Punch, Riyasi and Rajouri. Finally, the third phase set for October 1st will see votes in Bandipora, Kupwara, Baramulla, Udhampur, Jammu, Samba, Kathua and other states. Now, the Election Commission headed by Rajiv Kumar has responded to the concerns by the political parties in J&K. They have raised concerns about security and safety. So the Election Commission has promised that there will be heightened security for all the political candidates across political parties in this election. Meanwhile, in Haryana, assembly elections will be conducted in a single phase, as you said, on October 1st. All 90 seats will battle on the same day for the state's leadership. The electoral rolls, as we say, for both the regions are crucial in this process, with Jammu and Kashmir rolls being finalized on October 20th and followed by Haryana on August 27th. So all eyes, as you said, on both these states, specifically on J&K, which is going to polls for assembly polls after a gap of 10 years almost.
All right, Shivani, many thanks for joining us. And here's former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah reacting to the election date announcement. Take a look.
इलेक्शन कमीशन से गुजारिश करना चाहता हूं, हम उन्हें एक चिट्ठी भी भेज रहे हैं आज कि लगातार पिछले 24 घंटे में जो बेशुमार यहां ट्रांसफरें हुई, इलेक्शन कमीशन को उनका फौरी तौर जायज़ा लेना चाहिए। बीजेपी को मदद और बीजेपी को फ़ायदा और उनके जो सहयोगी बी टीम, सी टीम, डी टीम है यहाँ पे, उनको मदद पहुँचाने के लिए ये ट्रांसफ़रें कराई गई हैं।
Well, the big global story, the US government has mandated price reductions on 10 popular prescription drugs covered by Medicare. Now, the price cuts, which range between 38 to 79%, will take effect in 2026. Ekta joins us now with the significance of the decision and the potential impact on Indian companies. Ekta.
Well, let's start with the news first. The US government has reduced prices for 10 prescription drugs under Medicare, which is mandated by the IRA, which is the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, the list prices for all but one of these 10 medicines have been reduced by at least 50%. So, important drugs such as, say, Entresto by Novo Nordisk, which is an important heart failure drug by them, has been slashed in terms of the list price by around 53% by the US government under Medicare. Now, Medicare is one of the channels which are available to sell US drugs. For example, Medicare, which is a type of government insurance, is around 18% of US drug sales. Medicaid is another 18% of US drug sales. Other channels include commercial channels through which the drugs are sold as well. Now, what is the impact on Indian companies? Basically, we are one of the largest suppliers of generic drugs into the US. Now, the price revision of these particular 10 drugs is limited to patented drugs. That means that these drugs are already being sold under a patent and there's no generic competition in it right now. Indian generic companies will only begin selling their version of the drug once the patent expires. So as of now, there's a patent, there's no generic company which is entering the market. What has changed then is the potential market size of the generic drug. For example, Entresto. Just to illustrate this better, the drug price is slashed to $295 versus $628. So the potential starting point of a generic drug entering the market would then be $295 versus $628. But it's important to note that generic companies in any case sell their drugs at lower prices. So there's stiff price competition when genericization takes place in the market. And separately, the price cut is only limited to Medicare at this point in time. It's not to Medicaid and other channels as well. So one has to really assess that on a larger scale. I spoke to a lot of people within the industry, within the analyst community, and they're not perturbed by this news as of now.
Ekta, many thanks for explaining the nuances of that story. Now, shares of Hindustan Zinc down over 8% in trade today. This after its parent Vedanta launched an offer for sale at a discount of 15%. Vedanta is looking to offload over 13 crore shares worth 6,500 crore rupees, which is more than what was planned earlier. Hindustan Zinc's board will meet on the 20th of August to mull over a second interim dividend for the year. Now, the Delhi High Court has agreed to hear SpiceJet's plea challenging an order to ground and return 3 engines to its lessors. However, the court has declined to hear the matter immediately. This comes after the High Court had directed the airline to ground the engines by the 16th of August and return them to the lessors within the stipulated time. The court has said the lessors were suffering irreparable losses due to SpiceJet's continued use of the engines. Foxconn CEO Young Liu met leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi today to discuss the future of tech innovation in India and the world. Liu also met Prime Minister Modi on Wednesday to speak on the potential investment opportunities in the country. The meeting focused on artificial intelligence, semiconductor manufacturing and boosting local electronic production. He's expected to visit Tamil Nadu tomorrow to inaugurate an industrial housing hub. Shares of Ola Electric zooming 20% in trade today, hitting an upper circuit for the third time since its listing on the 9th of August. The stock has gained 75% against its issue price in 5 trading sessions. Yesterday, the company marked its foray into the electric motorcycle segment by announcing the launch of its Roadster series. The bikes will be available in 3 variants in the range of 75,000 rupees to 2.5 lakh rupees, but will not be available just yet. And staying with all the new launches, Mahindra & Mahindra also launched the Thar Rocks, the 5-door variant of its iconic Thar, and it was launched on Independence Day. This will be a significant addition to the company's Thar lineup. The SUV will be available in 5 variants, ranged between 13 to 19 lakh rupees. The top variant features a panoramic sunroof, diamond-cut alloy wheels and smart travel modes. Bookings and deliveries will begin in October and November, respectively. The iconic British motorcycle brand BSA will return to Indian roads with the launch of its all-new Gold Star 650. The motorcycle has been introduced at a starting price of 2.99 lakh rupees and will compete with Royal Enfield's Interceptor. Remember, BSA motorcycles returned to global markets in 2021 under the ownership of Classic Legends, a subsidiary of Mahindra & Mahindra. We'll head into a break, but up next, doctors across India protest the rape and the murder of a 31-year-old trainee doctor at a Kolkata hospital. That and more when we return. Protests continue across India after the rape and murder of a 31-year-old trainee doctor at Kolkata's RG Kar Hospital last week. Protests in Kolkata gaining momentum after the medical facility was vandalized on the night of the 14th of August. Junior doctors and medical students are demanding the deployment of central forces at the hospital. The Bengal BJP unit also joining the protest, demanding Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's resignation. The centre has directed heads of government hospitals to file institutional FIRs within 6 hours of any incident of violence. In Delhi, members of the Resident Doctors Association took to the streets demanding justice for the victim. Calls for strict action against the accused also echoed in Mumbai, Amritsar, Hyderabad, Thiruvananthapuram The Indian Medical Association has called for a nationwide suspension of non-essential services for 24 hours, starting 6 a.m. tomorrow. The Calcutta High Court has come down heavily on the state government over the vandalism inside the hospital. It referred to it as an absolute failure of state machinery. The Chief Minister has blamed the BJP and the left for the vandalism at the hospital. She held a protest rally to demand capital punishment for the accused in the murder and rape. Our team of reporters captured the protests from across India.
Any investigation authority can take over all this kind of hooligan attack, vandalism has been occurred. But we, the protester, we say the one thing: anyone can hand it over, but the truth should be published. No suppressing of the fact. We not want that.
हमको लगता है एक प्री प्लान अटैक जैसे एक 5,000 के ऊपर गुंडा जो आया था उधर से पूरा ब्रिज भर गया था। वी वांट जस्टिस बोल के इमरजेंसी को तो पहले हम लोग का ये मंच को तोड़ा, उसके बाद इमरजेंसी में गया, अब तो 3rd फ्लोर तक चला गया था जहाँ IIT बिल्डिंग है, उसके ऊपर ही था सेमिनार रूम। तो हम लोग का ये लगता है सस्पिशन है, उसका इंटेंशन भी था ये क्राइम सीन को डिस्ट्रॉय करना।
जब तक सुरक्षा नहीं, तब तक सेवा नहीं, CPA लागू करा।
In Mumbai as well, over the last 3 to 4 days, there have been protests that have been held outside various hospitals as well. In fact, when you speak of the protests that's being held right here, this is a protest at Azad Maidan where several doctors, resident doctors, in fact, many doctors, they've all gathered to express protest against what happened at Kolkata. In fact, you see them holding some of these posters which say "No safety, no duty." As of now, when you speak of the protest, the emergency services continue in various hospitals, but apart from that, other services have been suspended across the entire city, which is where we see some of these protesters who've gathered here. In fact, we try and speak to some of them. Ma'am, you all are holding protests here. What is it, that you all are in fact speaking? What is the demands that are being put forward?
So my demand as a person is the crime has been covered completely. The body was cremated in a rush. Post-mortem was not reviewed. The site was destroyed. Vandalism was allowed. Burial of evidence. That means all that we shout, if tomorrow they say there's no evidence, there'll be no justice. The police who covered it, the people who covered it should lose their jobs permanently. Otherwise, there's going to be no change in attitude.
What exactly are your demands right now and how are the hospital services affected?
So this has been happening time and again to the doctors all over the country. It is not limited to a state, a country. It is limited, it's all over the world. But at least we want protection in our country for all the healthcare providers, not just doctors. The incident that happened was the safest place that can be for a doctor. But still, it happened that the rape and murder happened. So usually earlier we have protested a lot of times for someone beating us, mob attacking us. Now it has gone to the level of rape and murder. So this cannot be accepted, and we want a Central Protection Act to be implemented as soon as possible.
Protests nationwide there. Something needs to be done. It has gone on for too long, and that is the lament and the plea there. Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, the head of the interim government in Bangladesh, dialed Prime Minister Modi today. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said he received a phone call from Yunus and reiterated India's support for a democratic, peaceful and stable Bangladesh. The Prime Minister also said that Yunus assured protection, safety and security of Hindus and all minorities in Bangladesh. In international news, the World Health Organization has declared Mpox, an illness caused by the monkeypox virus, a global health emergency after cases have been rising across more than 100 countries. Sweden announced that a person has been diagnosed with the virus. Pakistan's health ministry has also confirmed its first case after a 34-year-old man tested positive for the virus. And staying with international news, the Israeli army has ordered a fresh evacuation of areas in southern and central Gaza. The army has said that these areas have been used by Hamas as a base for firing rockets towards Israel. Meanwhile, an overnight Israeli attack on an apartment in northern Gaza has killed several Palestinian civilians, including children. A Palestinian man was also killed by armed Israeli settlers who attacked Palestinian communities in the West Bank. Ukrainian troops have advanced inside Russia and claim to be in control of a border town with crucial energy infrastructure. Russia has claimed NATO and Western countries planned the attack on the Kursk region and have vowed to hit back. Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news will continue right here on CNBC-TV18. Stay tuned for a lot more.